guys, it's me. So it's 2.5 weeks after my C-section. So I'm just gonna update you guys and stuff. This video is mainly going to be about my C-section experience, and I'm gonna make a separate video about my C-section recovery experience. So everything that went into the recovery and stuff. So you guys can check out that video as well. Like I said, 2.5 weeks after my surgery, this is baby Ava. She was 8 pounds and 14 ounces, and I had my C-section because she was breech. There's a lot of reasons why people have to have C-sections. That was mine. So if you're nervous, if you're getting ready to have a C-section, or if you're curious about C-sections, this is a good video because I'm not going to sugarcoat anything about my experience, which is one thing that I was very upset about when I would ask people who have been through C-sections. I really felt like just sugarcoated everything for me, and I didn't like that at all. So I'm gonna tell you guys exactly how it went and exactly how I felt during that time. So you're gonna come in 2 hours before your scheduled C-section. I was scheduled to have my C-section at 8:30 a.m. and they told me to come in at 6:30 a.m. You're not gonna be able to eat past a certain point. Mine was I couldn't eat past midnight the night before, and I thought that wasn't so bad. I just thought, oh, it's just a few hours of not eating. And, I would be sleeping anyway, so I figured, I'm not going to be hungry or anything like that. But in reality, you won't be eating for the next 24 plus hours. Because once you get out of surgery, you're not allowed to eat until you pass gas. And that won't happen till the next day, just about. So that's a little frustrating. So you'll come in 2 hours early, and they're just gonna bring you back into an evaluation room. Your husband or whoever's with you will stay in the waiting room for a few minutes. They're gonna ask you to just take off all your clothes. That's gonna include your bra, it's gonna include your underwear, so you're just gonna be completely naked under the gown, which again is a little awkward, but that's okay. You can leave your socks on. Well, you should be able to leave your socks on. I delivered at Franklin Square Hospital, and they let me keep my socks on, which was a good thing because I had to walk to the operating room anyway, so I wouldn't want to walk barefoot. So you'll come in, you'll get undressed, put the gown on, and then the next thing they're going to do is just ask you a whole bunch of questions that they don't want anyone else hearing. Things like, do I feel safe at home? Am I being abused at home? Silly questions like that, which of course my answers were no, for am I being abused or anything like that, which most people's answers will be no, and I hope that everyone's answers are no. So after that, your husband can come in, and they're going to give him scrubs, and they're just going to continue to ask you questions. You're going to get an IV put in your arm. You're also going to have blood taken. And for anyone who has not had an IV, which this was my first time having an IV, it was my first time having an operation, so everything was new for me. IVs are not a walk in the park. I did not really have a good person to put my IV in. They didn't really know what they were doing. So I hope that when you get your IV put in, you have someone good who knows what they're doing, because they stuck me in this arm first, and they ended up hitting something in my arm, which I can't remember what they said they hit. But they hit something, and then they said sometimes they're able to go through it and then back into the vein. So they attempted to do that, and that was painful, a little painful. And it wasn't successful. They weren't able to go through it and back into the vein, so they had to take it out. And then they stuck me in this arm. This arm bruised up a couple of days after, and then they stuck me in this arm, and it took them a while to get it right. in this arm they found my vein, but it took them a while to like actually get it right. So once everything was done with that, they'll tape your IV down, and the IV after that, it isn't painful, but it's a little uncomfortable. You can kind of feel it a little bit still, but they'll tape it down, and that's fine. My hospital let me have visitors in my room before I had my surgery, which was nice. I had my father-in-law, my husband, my father-in-law's girlfriend, my mom, and my sister, my older sister, in there with me, which was really nice. I needed a lot of support for this. I was very scared to go through the C-section, so it was nice that they let me have some family in there beforehand. So after that, they're also going to give you a hairnet, because you have to wear a hairnet into the operating room. If you are having a C-section for a breech baby, they're going to give you an ultrasound before the surgery, which they did for me. So if you're worried that the baby's going to turn around to be head down last minute, which does happen, then, and then you would have a C-section for no reason, don't worry about it, because they will give you a C-section, not a C-section, they will give you an ultrasound just to double check, make sure that, they didn't misdiagnose that breech, or make sure, the baby didn't turn back around. So, after that, they're going to tell you, get up and walk to the operating room. So you, your husband, and I had 2 nurses with me, walked me to the operating room, and they're gonna give you these like nice already preheated like blankets to wrap around you, because it gets cold back there in the OR. So this is when your husband is going to be put into a whole separate room. So you're not going to be with your husband or whoever you're with for the next 20 minutes maybe. I didn't exactly time how long that was, but it was going to be a little bit until they get the epidural in and get you all set up and prepped for surgery. So they put him in a whole different room, and then they're going to put you into the operating room, and you're going to sit on the bed. It wasn't a table, like a steel table or anything like that. Excuse me, I don't get much sleep nowadays. And then you're gonna, they had me hug a nurse, like kind of hunch over her like that, to have my epidural put in. So I know a lot of hospitals are doing that nowadays, and that was really nice, and it really helped to have someone there like supporting me, as and just like telling me, oh no, do it this way, and everything like that. So they'll walk you through it and talk you through it, and they know what they're doing, so don't worry too much. Now, if you're worried about an epidural, if you've never had an epidural before, this is your first one, which was my first one for me, they numb you first, and the numbing is the worst part of the epidural. So they're going to numb you, and it's a very intense sting, like a very intense burning, and it lasts about 10 seconds. But once it's gone, once that 10 seconds is up, it's gone. I mean, you don't even feel it anymore. But it really is, for those 10 seconds, it's just really intense. But it goes away, snap of a finger. And then they're going to put the epidural in. And you don't feel pain, but it feels like a muscle spasm. Some people say it feels like a lot of pressure. I thought it felt like a muscle spasm in my back. So, and the doctor or the anesthesiologist will talk you through all that, and they'll just ask you, where are you feeling the pressure now, and they just need to make sure they're doing it correctly. Once the epidural starts kicking in, my legs started getting really like warm, like it felt like a really warm sensation like in my legs, and then they started getting real heavy. That's when they took me over and they laid me down on the table, and it was really funny actually, because I couldn't feel anything from like here down. So it was really funny because they were moving me all around and adjusting me, and they were like picking me up and like laying me back and moving me side to side. And it was really funny because I was laying there watching my body move, like my lower body move, and I didn't feel a thing. So I was actually cracking up. I was really laughing in the operating room. It was funny. At that point, they're going to put the catheter in. And don't worry about the catheter. You won't feel a thing. You don't even know that they put the catheter in you. I just know because I saw them like pull the catheter like out and bring it over to me, and then all that, and I saw them tape it down on my leg. But you don't feel a thing. And then they're gonna put the blue curtain up over your face so you can't see from your chest down. And at that point, so if you're wondering if they shave you, yes, they do. They don't shave everything down there. They only shave the part where they're going to be making the incision, and it's extremely low. It surprised me how low the incision actually is. It's like below your bikini line, so it's crazy. But if you've asked anyone about it and they've said no, they don't shave you, they're just saying that because they didn't realize they were shaved. You are shaved. I didn't even know that they shaved me until I happened to look over and I saw the nurse walking away with the shaver. And I asked her and I was like, "Did you just shave me?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I thought that was funny as well. I laughed because I didn't feel a thing. I didn't even know she shaved me. So after that, then your husband or whoever is with you can come on in the room and they're going to get started on the surgery. So your husband's going to sit next to you, and they're just going to be doing the surgery the whole time. They don't let you know when they're doing the incision, so don't worry about that. However, you will feel them, and it's not a pain, it's a sensation. It feels like someone just taking your finger and just like running it across your skin, like running it across your belly. So if you take your finger and just like do this, it just feels like that. And then I felt them make the incision, but it just felt like someone taking their finger running it across my belly. It didn't hurt. It's kind of creepy. But I also felt them when they were inside of my belly, which was weird as well. It feels like someone just taking their hands and going like this on your belly, like just like taking their hands, like poking your belly with it or whatever. And that was weird. So, but again, not painful. So don't worry about it being painful. They didn't tell me when they were starting to take the baby out. They told me that the baby had big feet. They were like, "Oh wow, we got big feet over here." Because they pulled her feet first, and it took them a while to actually get her out. And it's a lot of tugging and a lot of pulling. So your upper body, like up here, is going to be moving. Like you're going to be like jolted back like that, and like everything's just going to be like, like pulling and tugging on you. And it's crazy because I remember my husband saying, "Oh my God, like what are they doing?" Because you could see like my whole body just like moving back and forth because they were trying to get the baby out. And then it'll be a few seconds before you actually hear the baby cry once the baby's out, because they have to just suction all the fluid out and everything. And then once your baby's out, they're going to take him or her over to the little incubator table, and they're going to do like a heel prick on their heel to like draw some blood, and then they're going to like wipe them down, and they're going to measure them and weigh them and everything like that. So you won't actually be able to see the baby for me it was about 10 to 15 minutes. I didn't get to see the baby. But my husband went over there with her, and he got to cut the cord. My hospital, I don't know about yours, but my hospital, they cut the cord, of course, before they bring the baby over, but they leave it long enough to where the father can come over and cut the cord as well. So that was really nice because he really wanted to do that. So that was special for him. And then they're gonna give the baby to Dad. Dad's gonna come over to you and show you the baby. And then they'll be sewing you up at that point. And that's the longest part, is them sewing you up. You just want it to be done. You're like, oh my gosh, come on now, are you guys done? Like, it takes a long time. That's the longest part about the C-section. One thing, they switch you over to like a different dose or something of medication. They switch you over to like a different type of medication for like after the surgery. And so while they were sewing me up, near the end, I could feel them. And it wasn't like a sharp pain or anything, but it did hurt. And it was like really uneasy. I didn't like it at all. Near the end of them sewing me up, I did feel them doing that. And then after that, they're going to take the baby out of the room. And my husband went with her. So I don't know if they make the husband go out or not, but we had talked about, if they take the baby out of the room, I wanted him to go with her. So they leave the room, and then they're just going to transport you over to a bed, and they're going to roll you out, and you're going to go into the recovery room. So now you're in recovery, and you get to see your baby. Then you finally get to hold your baby, because you can't hold your baby in the operating room, unfortunately. I heard stories about people had their arms down like that, and they were strapped down. My arms were not strapped down, but I did have to put my arms out like that. But I was able to move them if I wanted to. So I wasn't strapped down at all, because I wouldn't have liked that too much. So that's the whole C-section experience for me. And then I'm sure recovery and the surgery experience is different for everyone. But for me, that's how it went, and that's what I guess you can expect if you've never had it done before. So the surgery itself, was really nothing, because you didn't feel anything.